Hey, what's going on out there, man? Y'all know what time it is, man. It's the happy hour. It's 8 o'clock. It's prime time, and we about to get dirty bird with y'all, man. We got one of the greatest Atlanta Falcons wide receiver team's history. I gave y'all a glimpse the last week with that 1994 season, first season in Atlanta Pro Bowl season.
Mm-hmm.
Probably one of the best signings in Atlanta Falcons history. Got my boy Terance Mathis joining us tonight. It's my second time having him on. I loved it the first time, but we're going to crank it up to the next notch.
Oh, you want to go there? You want to crank it tonight?
Whole nother level. Whole nother level.
On a Tuesday night, we're gonna crank it. We're gonna go somewhere with this. Okay, I'm ready. Let's go.
But we're gonna get this thing started, man. Right quick. Before we get into the current team, I want to talk a little bit about that 1994 season. Coming over as a free agent, didn't really get the shot that you wanted with the Jets. What mindset did you have coming over to Atlanta? Brand new team, brand new atmosphere. What was it like for the fans that don't know?
It all started for me in year 4 with New York. You know, I went to practice every day and treated it like it was my game day. I wanted to beat the starters, beat the guys that were playing on Sunday and help the defense be better. You know, and I had a great mentor that year, Ronnie Lott. Ronnie Lott helped me become a professional. And every road trip, I would get a phone call and say, "Let's go, man. Let's go to dinner." We'd go to dinner on every road trip. And he always made sure I was okay. Even when I didn't play well, he made sure I didn't get down whatsoever. So I became a professional. So I became fearless in that 4th year. So then when I became a free agent and came over here to Atlanta, and I remember, it was funny. I remember we played the first preseason game. And so then that week in practice, Miles Davis, running shoot guru, was the offensive coordinator, and we was walking off the field, and I put my arm around him and I said, "Hey, Miles, I know you guys didn't pay me all this money to sit me on the bench, because I didn't play much the first preseason. I didn't even start." And he looked at me like, "I can't believe it. I'm a grown man. I'm gonna talk to you like a grown man." So he says, "I'm gonna check into that." I started the next preseason against Buffalo Bills, and that first quarter I shined. And then that was it. You know, I started the first game, and then that season was a magical season for me. A lot of things happened that year that allowed me to do those things. One of the things was Andre Rison. Andre Rison was out there, so everybody was paying attention to Andre Rison. And so I was getting open, getting my thing, doing my thing. Then all of a sudden it was like, oh my God, before you know it, half the years gone by, I'm over 50-something catches. So, you know, then there was a couple of games Andre didn't play in whatsoever. I think my coming out moment, believe it or not, we was in Denver and Andre got suspended for that game. And he didn't make the trip. So everybody was wondering what the offense was going to be like, I remember that game. I had two touchdown catches. I went over 160 something yards in that game. Yep. And then all of a sudden people was like, "Who is this guy?" And then that's when Jeff George said, "Oh my goodness, this is my dude." And I remember that same year we played the Raiders in Los Angeles, and Andre was suspended for the first half of that game. And Jeff was like, we was on a play in the red zone, in the end zone. He says, "I'm coming to you." I was covered, but I got open. He hit me, scored. He came over and grabbed me. And he said, "That's the way to come through." And right there, that relationship formed, and it didn't matter. After that, I was already hot and going and going and going. It was just a great year. I got blessed that year.
Amen. Amen.
Yeah. Hey, but, whenever your quarterback comes to you after you make a big play like that, and he says things like that to you, yeah, that's something that a wide receiver want to hear right there. Whenever he says that, like it's instilling that faith in you, that's huge.
Well, here's the thing, and which I don't understand young receivers don't do. You got to have a relationship with your quarterback, and it got to be a love-hate relationship. It has to be one of those relationships that he can curse you out,
yeah,
but you know he's going to throw you the ball in the next series. Or you can go, "Hey, man, you got me killed on that play. Man, come on." It's almost accountability with love. It's love. It's, you know, if you don't want your quarterback to get on you because you didn't get open or you didn't catch a ball, which is your job, you have a problem.
Yeah,
and if you can't go to your quarterback and says, hey, man, I was open, get the ball down or get it to me earlier, that's his job. You holding each other accountable. So I had relationships with my quarterbacks like that. We would go to dinner on Friday nights, whatsoever, on Sunday nights at their house, Monday nights for football. We're together. We just having, and we always conversating about the game plan and what we see whatsoever. You know, Chris Chandler and I had that relationship where I remember the first time I asked him, I said, hey, man, I wasn't even out of my route yet. How did you know where I was going to be? He says, I watch you and you give a little something to let me know. That's the indicator to let the ball go. And I was like, whoa. So he had so much confidence in me that he was like, it's out. It's out, because he knew where I was going to be. And that's the key to running routes is be where you're supposed to be.
Yeah.
And the quarterback going to throw you where it should be.
The quarterback, the middleman. If
you're worrying about beating the guy and all this stuff, I got to get to this spot. No matter how I get there, I got to get there on time, because that's where the ball is going to be.
Exactly.
Yeah. And it's funny. One more story with Chris Chandler was he had just come back from injury and we was playing Pittsburgh on a Monday night. And he was upset with Dan for some reason, because I think Dan that whole week in the press talking about he was soft, or he needs to toughen up or something like that. Just something to that effect. So Chris comes into that game and he's pissed. He's pissed. So the first series, I ran a deep dig route and he threw a ball, between two defenders, and I caught it. Whew. I said, oh my God, he on fire today. So after that series, this is the honest to God truth. After that series, he says to me, I'm throwing you every ball.
Wow.
I think in that game, seriously, he completed 18 passes and I caught 12 of them.
What?
Yeah.
Wow.
He said, I'm going to throw you and he threw me if I was covered or not. So as a receiver, I love that, because I'm like, I can do whatever I want to do because I know the ball's coming. So I'm just going to get open. And the funny thing, they had me doubled one time and I caught a ball on the sideline, and Bill Cowher says to me, how does that happen? How does that happen? I just looked at him and said, hey, man, it's just my night.
I used to tell my players that all the time. I said, look, man, for my wide receivers, you just got to be home. Mm-hmm. If you're home, my quarterback's the mailman. Yeah. so he just got to get it to you on time, and if you're at home, whenever he gets it to you, we good to go. Don't worry about beating that other guy across from you. Just be where you're supposed to be at.
Now let's transition into this year's Falcons team.
Oh,
yeah. Okay. Here's the thing, and people can, I'm analyzing the Falcons offense as a offensive player, as a offensive coordinator mindset, as a head coach. Here's what I see. The passing game is not sophisticated enough to fool anybody right now.
Yeah.
All balls are being thrown in between the numbers. Now, we had some success early in the game against Tampa with that, because Tampa didn't make the adjustments. So the adjustments that were made, understand this, the adjustments that were made was two of them. The guys that were inside were getting deep because they know they're not going anything past 10 yards. So I'm not going to get deep.
Yeah.
And the other adjustment was, you're not going to get to him because he's getting the ball out quick. Push, hand up.
Hand up. Yes, sir. That's it.
And they made the adjustment, but we didn't make a counter adjustment to it. We make a counter adjustment to it. Now, first of all, we don't have anybody to take the top off.
I said that last night.
If you don't have anybody that scares anybody, you can play 12, 15 yards with your safeties and just sit your feet. Because, first of all, as we seen Sunday, we tried to get one over top and Matt couldn't get it to him.
Right, Calvin Ridley. Right.
But it wasn't because Matt couldn't get it to him because of Armstrong. He just threw it late.
Yeah,
he'd have got it out a little bit earlier. It'd have been on time. So he was so late, so he had to overpower it, and it just came out funny. But at the end of the day, man, we need a guy that can stretch the field, that people are gonna fear, and then we have to throw the ball more from the hash to the sidelines. We got to stop throwing the ball in the middle of the field. And another point, and I keep, you know, and it's amazing that the Raiders are on TV so much. And I said, this Derek Waller kid, this is why we can't use Kyle Pitts like that. Why aren't we watching that film and say, hey,
we said it last night, Terance.
Look how they're using Kyle Pitts. Let's do the same. Even what's his name, Hawkman for the Detroit. How do you use him?
Hawkinson, yeah. He was taking. He was getting shots down the field.
So me, understand this. I didn't reinvent the wheel. I didn't reinvent offense. I didn't reinvent anything. So what I do is, as a coordinator, I'm looking at what's successful, and I'm gonna use my talent to do the same thing everybody else is doing to be successful. I'm not gonna be hard-headed and say, "Oh, my system works. We're gonna force it." No, man, that's not what the NFL is about. The NFL is about finding matchups that you can take advantage of and winning football games at all costs.
And I said that last night on the live. I feel like they should have took advantage with Kyle Pitts lining up on the outside against that banged up Tampa secondary. Yeah. No one back there could have stopped him.
Yeah.
Not Carlton Davis. Bunting is hurt.
Yeah.
And they had a rookie on the other side. Yeah. So I don't understand what they seen that I didn't see.
Well, you know, hey man, here, come on. Here's the thing, and this is nobody's fault.
Right.
Nobody to blame. It's tough being a head coach in the NFL, especially when you're a first-time head coach. It's tough. Yeah. And then you're the offensive coordinator at the same time. It's tough. You're trying to manage a football game and call plays. It's tough. I'm telling you.
That's what I've been saying, Terry.
It's tough. So, you know, he may not see what we see, or he may not be getting the information in time, or even processing the information because of all these other things that he has to worry about the game. So give him time. And I know we didn't beat a dead horse with this one. The Falcons are about to play their third preseason game, so they should be better after going into game 4. They should win their third preseason game.
Hold on, Ted. Hold on. Wait a minute. Hold on. Before we go any further now.
What?
Because you told us before we got started, you gonna give us the real, right?
What? Yeah.
Should they have played in them preseason games?
Yeah, they played 2 so far. Yeah.
No.
I'm talking about the regular
preseason. Should they have played in the preseason games?
Well, yeah, the starters are playing in the preseason right now.
During the preseason.
Oh, you mean the season started already?
Yes.
Oh, man. I thought we were. The way we were playing, I thought we were getting ready for the regular season. Oh, so you telling me those 3 preseason games, the starters should be playing to get rid of all these mental errors and assignment errors to be ready for game 1 and game 2. And that just didn't happen.
Right.
Oh.
Wait, Kuntry Smitty.
Preseason game, really.
Can I say something?
What's up, Jeff?
We are in the presence of greatness, and y'all ain't even gonna introduce me to this man. I mean, I'm over here like a little kid, and y'all ain't even
we would get to it, man. We would get to it.
Well, we'll get to it, man. What's up? Hey,
Terance Mathis, I got a lot of stuff to say. First of all, it's a pleasure to meet you. I don't know if you play video games at all, but growing up as a little kid, I played NFL Blitz, and I threw to you every chance I could get. It was Chris Chandler to Terance Mathis, and that's all I did, bro. So this is amazing right now.
Well, you're making me feel old because you said NFL.
Man, those graphics though was popping in the 90s. That's all I got.
Back then, they were.
I had a question for you though.
Okay.
A lot of people don't know, maybe the newer fans, that you were actually drafted by the Jets and then you came to the Falcons. Could you elaborate on how you got to the Falcons and the difference in cultures coming from the Jets to the Falcons?
All right. Here it was. It was the first year free agency, right? And I wanted to stay with the Jets so bad. I wanted to. I says, I'm about to come into my own New York. Dude, if you make it in New York, you make it anywhere.
Yeah.
I was like, the fans love me. I just enjoyed it. I was that underdog whatsoever, so they enjoyed me. Pete Carroll became the head coach, and I thought we had a good relationship. And Pete said he wasn't going to sign me back. And I said, oh, my God. So I traveled to the Rams, the Saints, the Colts, And then when the Falcons called, they were interested. And I told them this. I said, I would not take another visit to nowhere else if you sign me to play with the Falcons and bring me back home.
Wow.
So Milt Jackson was the receiver coach, and he laughed. He said, I see what I can do. And this is how it happened. This is true story how it happened. So we're going to fly you in, work you out, whatsoever, get you a physical and see what we see. So we get there. You had Mark Clayton there. You had some other big name guys there. And we out there stretching. They said, you're going to run a 40. I said, oh, Lord, that's my kryptonite. A 40? I said, oh, no. So I'm out there stretching, and it was a cool day. And I said, dang, I just hope I run a 4.6 today. Good gracious, I said, if I run a 4.5, I'm good. So June Jones come out, who was the head coach at the time. He comes out, he leans over and said, I don't need to see you run. I said, oh, thank you, Jesus. He says, all I need to do is see you catch some balls. I caught about 10 balls, and he said, okay, you're done. Go in and shower. Go see the trainer whatsoever. So I went in and showered, seen the trainer. I went up to his office, and we talked football. They was running the run and shoot back then. So he was giving me concepts and all this stuff, and I'm up on the board drawing it up, doing my thing. And he goes, how do you know this stuff? I said, my freshman and sophomore year, we ran a run and shoot in college.
Wow.
So I was already knowing the offense. Now the culture change was different because in New York, it was so much pressure to perform and to win. And it was either you was a Jets and a Giants fan. You wasn't a Buffalo Bills fan. You wasn't a Colts fan. You wasn't a Dolphins fan. It was in New York, it's the Jets or the Giants. Then when you come here, when I come back home, it was totally different. It was so laid back and so entertainish that it was just about putting on a show and not winning games. You know what I'm saying? It was the Freaknik of football, pretty much.
Right.
You see what I'm saying? Everybody wanted to be a part of it because it was celebrity written, all this stuff about the Falcons.
What in the world? The Freaknik of football.
Yeah, it was because everybody, when you go to, understand this, back then, when you go to a Falcon game, it was a social gathering. It was the who's who. You in the Concord and you looking. You ain't paying attention to the game. You looking. You ain't paying attention to the game. And that would, for me, it was comfortable because I was back home, and it was no pressure for me to be that dude because they already had a dude here, Andre Rison. So it was no pressure for me to be that dude. So I became, came into my own. I always had confidence, but it was just one of those things that, that 1994 season just took me to a whole different level.
Well, that leads me to my second question. So you play with Andre Rison, and I know you guys were talking about the Falcons this season and how we need to pressure people and make people fear us. My question is, obviously, even when Julio was injured, he was such a presence. Even as a decoy, I noticed defenses still feared him. Now it's like, when I watch the games, like no one fears Russell Gage at all. And it's so much easier to just double up on Calvin, and they're not even doubling up on Pitts, and no one even cares about Gage anymore. How do we get that back? Because I don't think Gage is it. He's too small. Even when he was a bigger body as a 2, it still worked. But now it's like, I don't know.
Well, obviously they brought in some guys and worked them out today. I know they brought in John Brown, which is a speed guy that can take the top off of the defense whatsoever. I don't know. I don't know. I don't know where you go because you have to have a veteran guy that has the know-how to get open and to get deep. You can't bring in a young guy and say, hey, okay, this is what we need you to do if he hasn't done it a lot. And if he's not feared in the league, it makes no sense to bring in a young guy and say, oh, here's a speed guy. We're going to run him deep. Don't matter. And I'm telling you what's happening is this. Now you're seeing more pressure on Matt because they not fearing him throwing the ball over top. They want him to throw it short. They want him to throw it, dink and dunk it and bat it down and throw screens and all that stuff. That's to the advantage of the defense. At sometimes you got to back those jokers up. Run Pitts down the middle of the field fast as you can and throw it over his head. I don't care. Now it's going to be like, woo, he ran by us. We were lucky.
4-4 speed. I don't see no why not.
They're gonna start backing up.
Because the thing is that like Doug Dragone, the offensive coordinator for the Falcons now, he was in Chicago, and I remember looking at my wife, Coach Roney, and you know where I'm going with this, Terance. You know where I'm going. you mentioned all right. So you mentioned a little bit earlier that the offense does not look complex at all, and they're not throwing outside of those numbers. Does this look anything like it did last year in Chicago with Mitchell Trubisky, this offense? I'm just asking you.
Well, it's funny. It's funny that you recognize this, and because I recognized it right away, and I said the same thing to a lot of people that it's so familiar. It's familiar to what even the Titans did, and what Chicago did, and it predicated on run game, play action, throw the ball, dink and dunk it. But it is. You're only gonna do what you know and what you're comfortable with. That's
right.
Terance, I live tweeted this during the game. I'm like, in the first game, I ain't seen so many rushing attempts since we had Michael Turner. I'm like, what is this Falcons team? It's almost like Arthur Smith forgot he left Tennessee and he still thought he had Derrick Henry. Mm-hmm. And it was like we was trying to run like the Titans did, but we don't have those horses like we did back then. And then the second game, it was more like Arthur Smith realized that we're actually a passing team, and he let Matt Ryan cut it loose more in the second game. Right. And so, my question was, you played Andre Rison. For the young kids at home who don't remember you guys, could you explain how he impacts your game and how you impacted his game?
Well, speaking on your point about first of all about the throwing the football and the passing, what Ryan does best whatsoever now, and going back to the coordinators, this and that, everybody wanted to blame Dirk Cutter for the Falcons losing football games. and I don't understand that. I really don't understand that, because the offensive coordinator don't lose football games. He may call some plays that cause situations to happen, but he doesn't lose a football game. It takes a whole team. It takes the players, execution, right, all that stuff. Now let's get that out the way. And I bet you right now, some of y'all missing Dirk Cutter. Missing Dirk Cutter and Sarkisian. Y'all missing them guys.
I miss Sark. I ain't gonna tell no lie.
What you asked for. Be careful what you ask for. Now, going back to your question about Rison, it wasn't, I had an opportunity to play with some wonderful, wonderful, wonderful receivers. Rison and I complimented each other because our games were similar, a little bit similar. I think I was the more physical third down, across the middle guy than he was, which helped because once he took the top off and everybody was deep, I'm coming underneath catching things or scoring. Those type of things. We're going, coming off his tail while he's taking everything deep and catching it. And then when they start coming up on me, guess what? They throw it over top to him. That's the same thing happened in '98 with Tony Martin and I. Tony Martin and I probably had the best relationship out of the guys that I played with. Tony Martin came to Atlanta, and first thing he did, he hugged me. He said, "We're going to Super Bowl." Then he goes, "We're going to catch 100 balls apiece, and we're going to go to Super Bowl." We didn't catch 100 balls. I think I caught 63 that year. He caught 60. I caught 68 that year. He caught 63. We was almost identical in yards. He had 17.9 yards per catch. I had 17.3.
Cool. Great.
I had him in touchdowns because I had 11 touchdowns that year, and he had 7, I think. But we complimented each other because Tony used to come in the locker room. If he wasn't feeling right, his locker was right next to me. He said, "T, you're gonna have to hold us down until I get myself right. I'm tired, man." I'm like, "Okay." So I'm out there and I'm balling. Sometimes he goes, "Take this play. Play call in the huddle." You go take it. And I go take it, and we do it. So then he'd get to the point where he start feeling it. He'd come running over there to the DB. He goes, "He gonna kill you all day, all day, all day." And then once he stop killing you, I'm gonna kill you.
I got you.
and then when they moved the coverage over to me, bombs away. And it was just one of those things where there was no egos, there was no competition whatsoever. We made each other better each week. We did compete at practice because we wanted We wanted to challenge each other who ran the best routes. But it was friendly competition. You know, Ryzen and I had a different relationship, which made us perform better because it was one of, he was the lead dog and I wanted to catch him. And I wanted to be the lead dog. And that goes into my point of this 2021 Falcons team. And I've said this, and Smitty, you probably heard me say this plenty of times. In every meeting room, you got to have that dude that everybody.
Yep. You said that constantly. Yep.
If you don't have that dude that's taking it to the next level, you're gonna be here all the time. You're gonna be here. If that dude is worrying about what everybody's thinking and what is everybody saying, he's holding everybody back. Sometimes you gotta be a butt. Sometimes you gotta be that dude that make people mad, but it's because you win. And I know y'all all seen The Last Dance with Michael Jordan. He was in tears when he said, if you don't want to come with me, don't come with me.
Don't come with me.
I'm trying to
have that killer instinct, man.
Yeah,
that's what you got to have.
And you know, it is, you know, the thing is, you know, going into this week's game, the Falcons have an opportunity to win a football game. They should win their first game this weekend if they don't let quarterback Jones get loose. You know,
that's what I said earlier, man.
If they don't keep him in the pocket and he gets out of the pocket, he gets a 50, 60, 70 yard run, it's going to be a long day. Make him throw the football. Make him throw the football. You're going to stop the run. We do well stopping the run. We're going to do well stopping the run. But at the end of the day, make him throw the football.
See, you look at things the same way I look at them, Terance, because I say the same. Going into that Eagles game, I was saying that, look, Jalen Hurts is going to be a problem with this defense that we're running. If you're predicating getting pressure using blitzes against this running quarterback, you're going to have some issues.
Right.
You know, and people forget that, you know, Daniel Jones, he got a little bit of wiggle in his hips.
He got a little wiggle.
So he can get up the field. Yeah. So, like, that's going to be very important. Question is, did the coaching staff learn anything from week one? Are we going to? Yeah, I think so.
They did. So. But it didn't help that they played a stationary quarterback the second week. But, you know, I think the defense got better this past week. You know, you can't get mad at the defense giving up 5 touchdowns. Who you gonna cover? Who? I mean, good gracious, man. You don't have enough guys on your football team to cover all those weapons.
It's tough, man.
You don't have a scheme to cover all those weapons. So you just got to hope they make a mistake, and when you score point for point with them and hope you have a chance to win in the fourth quarter, which we did. We had a chance to win. But it was a couple of crucial plays, and the interceptions happened because of pressure. And they knew where the routes were going to be run. They knew when they sent pressure, there was going to be a hot break by the inside receiver. That safety never took a step back. Never took a step back. No. He jumped on it and picked it off. And the other one was a tip ball on an assignment where a lot of people don't look at the game the way I look at the game. And here it is. I'm gonna explain to you what happened. It was a sack play by White, and what happened when he was untouched. So they lined up with I think a 5-man front. Okay.
Yep.
So we had 5 guys to block 5. Okay. And we had really 6 to block 5 because we had the running back in the backfield. So what they did was they put 2 to the left side, okay? They put 2 to the left side. No, they put 3 to the left side and 2 to the right side, okay? So now, if you know protection, you know where the back is sitting. He's on this side where there's 3. So now you got 4 to block 3 to one side. Mm-hmm. So now you have 2 to one side. All right. So what happened was the center slid the protection to the left where he was uncovered. He had nobody to block. So there was no reason for him to go left. When there was a threat in the A gap to the right. You get that? Mm-hmm. So now when they slide and the center stays put with 3 guys over there, now you got 3 on 3. But if the center stays put and looks to the backside where he's supposed to be looking, because that's the immediate threat, you block the linebacker in the A gap, we get the ball off, and there's not a sack. But
now, Terance, I love you, but if I may push back a little on one thing you said, you was talking about how we don't have the bodies to stop a Tom Brady-led team with all those receivers. My question is, how much longer do we have to wait till we actually get a respectable defense? Because it's like Matt Ryan's entire career, he's only had a top 10 defense, I think, once in his entire career. And we always talking about the offense. We always getting receivers and weapons and new toys, but our defense remains bottom of the barrel. And I always tell people, like, we got nothing to show for it. And I one day just want a defense that puts fear in people. You know, a Pittsburgh Steelers type defense, a Baltimore Ravens type defense. I want to move away from all the passing and actually win games with defense and running the football. So, like, how much of that is we've tried, you know, we've tried with Vic Beasley's of the world, Tack McKinley's of the world, and we still trying now, but it's like every year, it almost seems like fans are complacent and okay with having a bad defense every year. And to me, like, I'm not okay with that. Like, when are we going to finally have a defense? And what do we got to do to get to that point?
We'll have a defense when we get some more money to spend. we don't have no money to spend. We don't have any money to spend. And the thing is that at the end of the day, it's about money. You know, who you can't bring in no big free agent stars. You know, think about when the Jones kid in Arizona was wanted to be traded, and he was on the market. And I was beating my head. Go get
Chandler
him.
Jones. Yep, I did the same
thing. Go get him. All he did was
Yep.
have 5 sacks in the first game.
Yep.
All he did was have 5 sacks in the first game.
I said the same thing. I put it on wax.
So
that I wanted him here.
Well, here's the thing. And you got to look around the league. There's not a lot of big time secondary guys anymore.
No.
Where's their shutdown corner in the NFL?
Jalen Ramsey.
Yeah, Jalen Ramsey.
I mean, it's like you could count them all on one hand. You're shut down.
Yeah.
It's not like it used to be.
Back in the day, 10 years ago, they was on every team.
Yeah.
And it was a premium to get those in free agency. Right now, there's no guys out there because it's a constant turnover. If you look at last night, Detroit had rookies out there playing in the game. There's nobody out there right now. There's nobody out there. Maybe in 3 or 4 years when they have some long in the tooth a little bit, let's go get them. But right now it's about money, and plus there's nobody out there. There's nobody out there to get really.
And that's why I said last year. That's why I said they should have took everything they had, no matter what it took, to go get Chase Young. He's just that franchise changing defensive end.
Yeah.
And that's just being honest. I mean, I know that we need those picks, but at the same time, this is the guy that's going to be your John Abraham, Chuck Smith for the next 5-6 years.
Right.
Well, we might have a chance this year to get the dude from Oregon.
Well.
I mean, you got.
Here's the thing. So you predicting us to be in the top 5 picks?
I say it's a possibility. That's all
I'm not going to.
We in a hard division, bro. I mean, let's face it.
Everybody's gotten better.
Even the Carolina Panthers look tough now.
Their defense is, like you said, you got to make an effort to go get defense. It has to be an effort. Sometimes you're going to have to say, hey, look, all right, offense is enough. Hey, we get a defense. Case in point, this is not fair, but case in point, look at the Baltimore Ravens. But they got Superman on the other side. So
that's true.
I mean, that equates for. But honestly, look what their receivers did the other night. They had some receivers, and they got a running game. So here, you got to make an effort, And
but they actually got free agent and defensive players and C.J. Mosley, Calais Campbell, and Marcus Peters. Yep. So they actually been out and they gave Marlon Humphrey a big contract. So they spent money in the right.
They have money.
Right.
They didn't spend money on offense. They didn't spend money on offense. They spent it on defense. The only guy on offense is making money is going to be Jackson.
And that's their identity. So that's why they spent it like that. Go ahead, Jeff.
If you notice, they don't have to spend money on top guy because their system works so well. It don't matter how many running backs they lose, they still running the football like they starters.
Right.
Like Tyson Williams is out there running it. Latavius Murray's even Devontae Freeman was looking good the other night. I'm like, what's that? Where the hell was this?
Well, you got to understand, and you got to give. And I'm gonna be nice. You got to give the Falcons time. The culture has to change. You got to understand it's the culture more than anything. It's the culture that happens in Baltimore, in Pittsburgh, in Tampa now, in New England. It's the culture that has been built there for years. We have not had an identity since we played in the Super Bowl.
Yep.
And that front four in the Super Bowl was probably one of the best of the names that nobody talks about.
Yeah. We don't have an identity. Who are we? We're trying to find identity, and it's gonna take a while until Arthur Smith and Fontenot get the guys in that they want in to be systematic to the culture. It's gonna be a while, and look, you can sit back and wait. I mean, I know we want it now. We got to sit back and wait.
That's what grab down to. So basically, what you're saying, Terance, is that everybody might as well grab a Snicker because it's gonna be a while. That's basically what you're saying.
You know what, man? Here's the crazy thing about this season for the Falcons. They have an opportunity to win the next 4. Dude, do you understand? They're not playing anybody in the next 4. They start with this one on Sunday. They can run off 3 more after this weekend. And now we're back on saying, oh, great hire, good job, this and that. But right now we're going, did we do the right thing right here? But like I said earlier, it's hard being a head coach in the NFL, especially as a first-time head coach.
And you got to always put together the right staff. That's not easy either.
Yeah, that's not easy. That's not easy.
They brought over players from their former teams, coaches from their former teams. Yeah, and those players and those coaches got to get everybody in the locker room to buy in. That's the hard part.
They got to be on the same page.
Well, I definitely understand that. The fans also had to get on the right page as well. And Terance, you mentioned this whenever you first came to Atlanta. It was the football freaknik, right?
Mm-hmm.
Now, moving forward, it's hard for people to get on the right page. And whenever the guy who's supposed to be my offensive guru who comes in on 4th down on their side of the field, you do a fake punt, and then you just do a hard snap count to try to get them to jump. Then you turn around on 4th and 2. Now, Terance, you just talking X's and O's, or you just talking hat count now. I want you to make this make sense for me. 4th and 2.
He ain't gonna sugarcoat it. Remember that. That.
No sugarcoat it for me, that Terance. 4th and 2. Why in the world do we do a quarterback sneak on their side of the field?
6'5" quarterback.
I don't know if
listen. I don't know. I honestly I can't explain that. I really cannot explain that. Now I can explain the quarterback sneak, and it looked like nobody knew what was going on. That was between the quarterback and the center.
Okay.
Matt Ryan got that in his ear and said, "Sneak it." And what we call is what he does is he gets up under the center, he gets everybody down, and he just nudges him. He snaps the ball, and they try to hit it quick before even Mike said anything. He didn't even have a snap count or anything. He just went up under center and did it. But they were prepared for it. The reason why they were prepared for it because you took too long to line up to do it. So as he's looking, okay, the defense is getting set. After the play was over with, if they would have lined up and did it, they probably would have got it. But at the end of the day, man, look, you live and you learn. You live and you learn. That's the growing pains that you're gonna have to incur with with a new head coach,
rookie head coach, right?
And that's what it is. And there's nothing wrong with it. It's just how he felt. That's what he thought he should have. That's what he thought at the time. I mean, come on, man. We can question it all we want, and
But Terance,
I'm just saying.
Here's what, and they already know what I'm about to say, because here's what burns my soul. Okay, they came in talking about win now, and when you say those words "win now," that means like you like a step away from a deep playoff run, a Super Bowl run, at least making the playoffs. But then the moment we lose games, people want to talk about, oh, we need time to develop. How are you rebuilding, but then keeping an aging quarterback like Matt Ryan? No disrespect to Matt Ryan, but we clearly have a young rebuilding team. So how does it make sense to keep an aging quarterback? And that was my opinion on draft night, because I said I would rather have a quarterback learn underneath Matt Ryan and skip on Kyle Pitts. And then once Matt Ryan retires, it's a smooth transition into the full rebuild, because we already got rid of Julio. That was step one. Step two was grooming a guy underneath Matt Ryan for the job when Matt Ryan's ready to leave. So the thing that pisses me off is I see so many people before the season started, they all talking about win now. We got Kyle Pitts. We're ready to roll. We're back on track. And then the moment we start to lose games, fans are talking about, oh, Jazzy Jeff, give him time. We rebuilding. And it's like talking out of both sides of your mouth. So
I get what you're saying. Here's the thing, and Smitty, we talked before the season started.
Right.
I thought the Falcons was 2 or 3 players away of winning this division and being in the playoffs. I did. I thought they were a defensive end away, a running back away, and possibly a safety, because we got rid of both safeties. And I said, there's 3 players. So we're 3 players away. I thought this team was experienced enough to be that team. And this was before the Julio trade and all that stuff. I thought
we talked in February.
This is what we need to do. I thought going into the draft, honestly, I said, if you're going to pick 4th, you can't go wrong with Pitts or Fields. That's what I said. But then I also said I wouldn't draft right there. I would get out of the first round and get me some more 2s, 3s, and 4s, because now you're building your roster for the long haul. So, and now you're saving money. You see what I'm saying? So now you went out and got the free agency. The free agents that you got, it takes away that first round money. So you're good, because now the 3 you got in free agency snatches up that 4th pick money. Okay,
right.
You're good. So now you got some 2s, some 3s, and 4s. You save yourself a whole lot of money. You save yourself a whole lot of money.
And like you said, those 2nd, 3rd, 4th round players gonna play with that chip on their shoulder.
Yeah, that third round player is mad because he think he should have been in the first round, because he's saying, I'm better than that dude. I'm better. Look at Seattle, the way they draft. That's what they do. That's what they do. They say, well, we're gonna pick them dudes that's upset, that's mad, that feels that they should be first rounder and have first round money, and they're gonna pay like that, and then we're gonna pay them like that when it's time. And I think that's the formula to go with. Now, here we are today. People were asking me when we drafted Kyle Pitts, what would be his impact? And I said, little. I said, because of the fact that the tight end position cannot turn a franchise around.
Thank you.
It can help a franchise expand and go, but that position is not a position where it's going to change. It has too many things involved with it. There's too many things involved with it.
Yeah, I said exactly what he said.
So basically, what you're saying. So basically, what you're saying, Terance, is that a tight end is the cornbread for the collard greens. That's basically what you're saying. They ain't main dish, but it's what you eat. I'm sorry, I'm from the country. I got to put this.
Basically, exactly. Honestly, exactly. Because here, and to your point, when the 2 came in, Fontenot and Smith. First thing Smith says was, if you think this is a rebuild, you hired the wrong 2 guys. Okay? I get that. But let's go back further before even the hire. When your owner says, whoever we hire as GM and head coach, I'm going to let them handle the Matt Ryan and Julio Jones situation. No, you don't do that.
Right. The owner paid him. You let him deal with it.
You don't do that. And see, at the end of the day, here it is. You telling me, and I hate to say it this way, and I know I'm gonna make people mad. You telling me Julio couldn't give us one more year?
Of course. Did you see his game last week?
Was that gonna hurt the salary cap that much?
Nope.
It wasn't even about money. I'm telling you, it
was about respect.
It was feelings was hurt on both sides. So you had to get rid of it. So at the end of the day, Matt Ryan redid his deal. Julio would have redid his deal. But when you come in and said, here it is. You got two guys that everybody's talking about. Who are you going to keep? Are you going to keep both? Are you going to get rid of both? Are you going to get rid of one? Are you going to get rid of Matt? You're going to get rid of Julio. So when you come in as a coach and a GM, you go, Matt Ryan is our future. We're not getting rid of Matt Ryan. You just told Julio he's expendable. Basically. Am I right? Or you just told him. He didn't say Matt Ryan and Julio are bonded together and we're going to win with these two and ride with these two. Matt Ryan is my guy.
Yep.
Matt Ryan is my guy. So, fans can get mad and say Julio bailed on us. Hey, it's the business. It's a business.
And I think Julio was a little mad too when they drafted Calvin Ridley a couple years ago because he felt like
they had to do that. I think Calvin Ridley benefited with Julio. I thought
he did.
I thought Julio squeezed out a couple more years because of Calvin Ridley. I think if them two together this year would have been dynamic with Kyle Pitts. I was waiting for that. I was waiting for that. I'm like, them three together.
Man, you talking about John Taylor, Jerry Rice, and Brent Jones of the 90s.
Yep.
Man. Hey, I do want to acknowledge Kojak, man, Tuckett. Much love to you for the 1999 Superman chat. He says, I humbly watch Falcons games with no expectations. My heart rate goes up. It stays down, and I actually pay attention to play calling, the clock, and adjustments. I can respect that. I think he was talking about your point when it talks about, you were talking about the coach not able to keep up with everything.
Right.
Because we were talking about that before the game, Terance. We were like, before the show. Yeah.
I'm telling you guys, it's tough. I've been a head coach, and I've been it hasn't been at that level, but I've been a head coach and called offensive plays. So when my offense or my quarterback comes off the field, I can't have a conversation with him because I got to pay attention to what's going on in the game.
Exactly. So
time management, player injuries, field position, all these things. I got to worry about all these things, and then I have to call plays. It takes a special individual to do that. And I'm not saying I'm a special individual. What I'm saying is you got to have a mindset and a disposition to do that. So you got to have this focus and this vision of the game and see the game as it is instead of at one perspective. For instance, my players like, Coach, how did you see that? I said, I can tell the way the play ended or how it began or whatsoever that this happened. So when I used to call plays, I called the play. I already knew what the second play was going to be because I anticipated where that ball was going to be on the hash and how many yards we were going to get. So there's a lot goes on, man. If you're not prepared for that, and if you're not don't know the heat of the moment, because it's hard, dude.
Terance, did you see that affect Dan Quinn going from DC to a head coach and Arthur Smith going from OC to a head coach? The difference in adjusting to being worried about every single thing on the field?
Yeah, it's hard. Yeah, I see it. I can see it. At the end of the day, you hate the league. Look, give up that calling duties because that's what you've been doing. You hate to do it. It's not like you don't trust the other guys, just you trust yourself more. And then when things don't go well, you feel that you need to take over.
Right.
But then something else loses. Something else falls by the wayside whatsoever. So that's what happens. And it's funny because my plans is to get back into coaching next year and at a higher level. And as a head coach, and my thing is I've already been talking to my potential staff and their responsibilities and what I want from them whatsoever. They even have an assignment that they got to give to me by the 1st of November. So we're already talking. So I talked to my receiver coach, and we had a conversation about me calling plays, running my offense, and being the head football coach. And I said, I'm going to hire somebody to be my offensive coordinator. And he goes, that's not the way to go. And I says, why do you say that? He says, this is what you need to do. You hire a guy and you mentor him to be your offensive coordinator. You teach him what you want, how you want to see it, how you see the game, how you call plays, whatsoever. So he has to be your mini-me before you give it over. You understand? So you can't just give it away without having control of it. You see what I'm saying? So I think
expectation.
So I think at the end of the day, even though Ragone is the offensive coordinator and Smith is listening to what he's given Matt Ryan, but at the end of the day, look how hard it is for Andy Reid to give over the title to Bieniemy. It's hard. It's hard.
It is, man.
It's hard.
It is. And all of the great coaches, like that's how I came up, Coach.
Yep.
I came up, I worked under the defense coordinator, and I was defense coordinator, but I wasn't really the defense coordinator.
Right?
You know what I'm saying? And then it's like
along the way.
I learned so much.
It was like interning. You was interning.
Yes.
And at some point, the way we're playing offense right now, at some point you got to really look yourself in the mirror and say, am I doing the right things to make us successful? Or am I hard-headed enough to want to put my system in that I feel they should run, execute, and do well and say it's mine? Nope, you got to let that ego go, because you have grabbed a quarterback that has thrown over 5,500 yards, 55,000 yards. That's what he does. And when you play fast with him, he's efficient and effective. That's who he is. And then when you do that, you can sprinkle in runs because you're going so fast. Defenses got to stay base. Now you can do whatever you want to do. But once you get in that huddle,
you already know, Terry. You already know.
They're all over the place.
You already know.
So you got to. Here's the real about this, guys. Here's the real about this.
That's what we want.
Matt Ryan is in his 13th year, right?
Yeah.
14th year.
Right.
He's played more games and watched more film than the head coach have coached and watched more film. You got to give it to him. You got to let Matt Ryan do it. Matt Ryan you got to let him do his thing.
Man.
You got to let him do
talked about that last night.
That's what you said, Smitty.
You got to let him do his thing. That's just, Tom Brady says, hey, man, I like what we're doing, but we're going to do this.
He went down to Tampa and changed the whole playbook into what he needs.
And they fought. They butted heads. But they came to a compromise. And they rallied, 8 in a row after that. They came to a compromise. So, okay, you're going to have to throw the ball downfield sometime, Tom. We got too many weapons for you to be trying to dink it to Gronk and doing all this stuff. He said, guess what Tom said? Well, I got to get my arm stronger now. I got to start doing some push-ups, shoulder press, so I can get the ball downfield.
Shout out to Kojak for the 499 super chat. He said you dropping gems, Mr. Mathis. He said you dropping gems, man.
Well, but you're right. I don't come here to play, man. I don't come here to play.
That's what we want.
I don't come here to play.
We down to the last 5 minutes of the show. If y'all got a quick question for Mr. Mathis, go ahead and drop it in the comment box, and we'll go ahead and throw it to him right quick.
Hey, give it to me.
Wrap this thing up.
I got one real quick.
I'm gonna answer it. Go ahead.
Because we got to talk wide receivers because we got a great one here.
Mm-hmm.
The wide receiver number 2 position opposite of Calvin. So you got You know, you got Zacchaeus, you got Russell Gage, you got Blake. Now, these guys are going to laugh at me because I'm the biggest Frank Darby fan you will find
Lord.
on any content creator.
He getting
And
naked.
hey, and in preseason, every time he was on the field and caught a football, he was getting first downs. When Tajay Sharp on his 4-15 wasn't doing nothing, Blake wasn't doing nothing, Zacchaeus wasn't doing nothing. What do you see about Frank Darby once he gets healthy and actually is given a chance? Because I see that he's the actual playmaker out of all those other guys. Those other guys are just Jags to me.
Well, here's the thing. I did my mock draft, and I had Falcons taking Darby in the draft, and they did.
Wow.
It's because here's a guy that has this swag about him, which maybe they don't like. He has this swag about him, but he just makes plays. He makes plays. He's an exciting player. He makes plays. Give him a chance. I think he's hurt right now, but give him a chance. Zacchaeus, I love this kid.
I love him.
Let me tell you why he's so fast. And I'm not saying he's like the cheetah in Kansas City.
He that
but
sneaky
he gives
fast.
you that effect.
Yeah.
And the more and more you put the ball in the hands of a guy like that, the more confidence he gets and the better he gets. And that's the thing. Coaching is one of those things that you got to know your players. You got to know what they bring to the table, and you got to put them in positions to win. You can't just call plays and say, okay, this play is going to work. It may not work for that player. It may not work. You got to put these guys in position to win every down. Every play you call, you got to put them in positions to win. Sometimes you got to throw out. The game plan ain't working. So sometimes you got to go back to week 3 game plan. I've done that plenty of times where I go, this ain't working. I put my game plan in my back pocket and just start calling off my head. Sometimes you got to do that. You just got to have a feel to the game. And that's what I don't see right now. And it's going to take him time. You know, he's not used to being on the sideline. It's going to take him time, and he's going to get there. We just got to be patient. You know, I think they played better this last week than they did first week. So I think this will carry them into the Buffalo game. I hope not the Buffalo, I'm sorry, the Giants game, but I hope it's not overconfidence because there's still some things they need to clean up to be successful. And that's that offensive line play. They got to clean it up. They didn't play terrible like they did the first week, but there were some crucial breakdowns at some critical moments that they have to fix.
Definitely. Right. And I apologize that for Mr. Mathis. You know, my homeboy Jeff down here, we got to say it in the country. We call it getting naked. And, you know, whenever somebody just get on the bandwagon, I'm sorry that Jeff got naked in front of you, Mr. Terance Mathis. I apologize. Jeff, behave, man. Come on.
Come on, man. We was dead in the water in preseason, and he makes stuff happen every time he gets a chance, man. Yeah. Don't be hating. Y'all be getting naked for Kyle Pitts every damn week.
Man, but I got another question for you, Cordell Patterson. I said he's the X factor of everything on the offense. How do they use him more effective in week 3 than they did the first 2 weeks?
I said that before. I said that before opening day. I said Patterson will be the key to this offense to be successful. And everybody like, what?
I said it too.
Yeah, you haven't seen him all preseason. I'm telling you this, they're going into a 3rd preseason game. So Patterson is that guy that you can put in a slot, run a jet sweep with him, run receiver screens with him, put him in the backfield, give him a toss. Right now, with no speed getting downfield, I'll put him out wide and let him run some deep routes. But come on, man. Patterson, Zacchaeus,
Ridley,
and if you don't want to put a back in there, Hurst. You got all that talent. You got all that talent. Even Mike Davis, people says, "Oh, it's Mike Davis." I heard you say that, Smitty. Mike Davis. Mike Davis is not who we think he is. He's not getting enough touches because we're so far behind. We can't even see what he's what he is yet. But here's the thing: is I just named 7 guys that can make plays for us. We got to get the ball in their hands. Somehow, some way, we got to get more sophisticated in the passing game to get these balls to these playmakers.
Yep.
But it starts with that old line, Terance, because when Matt has time, he can shred anybody still. But it's that old line, man. They good at run blocking, but pass protection, they struggling, bro.
Here it is. This is what Dallas did to Tampa Bay because of their D line and blitzes, the exotic blitzes they did. Got the ball out quick. Got the ball out quick.
That's what they kept doing.
Got it out quick.
That's what they kept doing.
Not across the middle, not tap in between the tackles. They got it out wide. Got it out wide. They didn't care if they was getting 2 or 3 yards a pop.
5, 7 yard out route. Yep.
It was discouraging the defensive line from rushing. They're like, we can't get there because the ball is going. Now they're frustrated. Guess what they do now? They come off the ball and just stand.
Yep.
And then when they started doing that, what did Dallas do? Because guess what happened? You have to come out of that zone now because now they hitting these quick routes. They're getting 3, 4 yards. Now you got to come up on them, man, and now you go by them. Now you go by them because the defensive line, they're like, I can't get there anyway. And then all of a sudden you drop back and they go, oh, I got to get there. It's too late. Ball gone. Touchdown.
Yeah, that's true.
That's what they kept doing. Science. It ain't rocket science, bro.
It's really not. And I want, and there was something else that I was mentioning the other day, Terance, when I was like, you know, everybody's talking about this pass blocking in this offensive line, right? Mm-hmm. But Arthur Smith, and you were talking about this earlier. We got a phrase for it. It's called coach's pride. Arthur Smith thought that he could coach these guys out of these kinds of situations. And the same way we seen Kyle Shanahan do it because he went to the Super Bowl with Levitre and Chester as his guards. Mm-hmm. So, I mean, do you agree with that?
Well, I think, you know, one statement he made to the analysts in the first game was he said that a lot of coordinators abandon the run too early. That's not what I'm going to do. You better when you're down 2 scores. Down 3 scores, you better. And as soon as he said that, we're down 2 or 3 scores, and he runs the ball. And I'm going, you know, I don't care if they know I'm coming or not and throwing the football. You better stop me. That's the mentality you have to have, even in the run game. You know I'm about to run the ball. You better stop me.
They had that mentality in 2016.
Yeah, it's just one of those things, man.
Okay, I got one more question and we're going to get out of here. Right. My boy Alberto. Mr. Mathis, have you took a peek at next year's draft class? If so, what are your thoughts on Darius Stingley, the cornerback from LSU?
We ain't going to get him. He ain't going to be there. He ain't going to, you know, the only way we get him if we got first 3 picks. That's the only way we're going to get him. And I don't think this Falcons football team is that bad. I don't think it's that bad where they're gonna have another top 4 pick. I just don't see it. You know, a lot of people write them off, but I just don't see it. I mean, the schedule is in their favor for them to at least win 7 or 8 games. So they should be able to do that. So I don't see us. I love Stingley. I love his story from his dad to his grandfather. All those things. I love the story. I think he'd be a great asset to this Falcons secondary. Now here's a guy that has played in big time games, knows what it's like because his grandfather has played. It's just one of those things. It's in his bloodline. It's in his bloodline. So I think he would help us tremendously. But honestly, I don't think he'll be there when it's time to pick him.
Right.
So regardless of what pick we have, what position would you go for a first round pick?
DN.
DN, yeah, same.
All day.
DN.
Same.
All day.
DN.
But
you may get one in free agency where you don't have to. You know what I'm saying? And if you get one in free agency, you don't have to. So you gotta go get a shutdown. You gotta go get a corner, man. You gotta go get that dude. You gotta go get him. You know,
I think Gilmore will be available next year, but what does he have left in the tank?
Yeah. Do who?
Gilmore.
Oh yeah. Yeah. You got some guys that can change your culture. You know, here's the thing. It took a whole quarter before the Falcons even woke up and started playing hard. They didn't do that the first game. 4 quarters, they just didn't look against the Eagles. They just looked uninterested. And there's something that has to change culture-wise. I don't know. And I'm not pointing fingers at nobody, but as a group, something has to change. Somebody has to change.
I promise
Somebody's
you.
not, okay, here it is.
I give you an example. Hold on. I'll give you an example. I talked about this last night. Brian Cox, when they were on the 2016 team, he was the defensive line coach. That defensive line played with an edge. It pumped up the locker room, and it got that defense going.
Right.
That's exactly what they need. And what did they do the very next offseason? They cut him.
Let him go.
You can't do that.
Here's the thing. And I'm going to leave y'all with this. And I want you to understand something. This organization is built to be fan friendly. Everything around it, from the stadium, outside, whatsoever, gives you a fan experience. That's what's important and marketable for this organization. Now, you can't, if I'm fan friendly and doing all these things and family friendly, I can't have on the edge type players and coaches in my organization. Yeah. I got to have nice guys. I have to have good guys. We can't do those things. That's not who we are. That's not who we are. I tell you what, I'm a Christian man, but let me tell you something. I'll take 5 guys that's going to hit you in the mouth any day.
Yeah.
Any day. Any day. Case in point, Reggie White, I've been on the field, I'm on the sideline and watch Reggie White take somebody with one hand, 320-pound offensive lineman, and hit him with a claw and knock him 5 yards and go get the quarterback and be vicious. And then after the game, he's holding your hand, praying for you.
In a prayer.
And praying for you.
Yep. You had a teammate like that too, Jumpy Geltis.
Yeah.
Nobody knows about him.
Jumpy had this forklift here, pick a guard up and have him off his feet, and place him down, and go sack the quarterback. But was the nicest guy. It's okay, man. Look, believe it or not, you ask some of the safeties I played against. I tried to put my helmet in your ear hole every opportunity I got on a run play.
Yeah.
And every time you talk trash to me, I tell you to shut the hell up because I'm about to do this to you.
I remember when you laid out Tim McDonough. He was one of the hardest hitters in the league.
What?
Man.
Oh, man.
So, but here it is. It's football. And I'm not saying, see, a lot of people think because you're physical on the football field that you're physical in life. That's not true.
No.
If you're not playing hard and playing physical in football, you're gonna get hurt.
Yes.
Another one's Hines Ward. He's one of the nicest dudes ever, but he will bust you coming across the middle.
But man, I want to thank you for stopping in, man. Always supporting us, man. We really appreciate it. Sure. And we'll have to have you on again sometime this year because Chuck Smith, Jesse coming back through.
Yeah,
and we just gonna have a party, man.
Yeah, man.
But
I'm around everywhere on social media. You find me anywhere.
Oh yeah,
yeah. Bring Chandler out here. Bring the rest of them out here.
Oh man, y'all need to get Jamal Anderson on.
Oh, yeah. I'm working on it.
Now, Jamal, you think I'm bad?
I'm working on that. But for everybody that tuned in the comment box, subscribe to all our channels, Big Low Country, Jazzy Jeff Real Talk, and y'all follow my man Terance Mathis on Twitter because he's always there.
Always there.
But for everybody on the panel, again, thank y'all, and we're gonna roll out. Good night.
God bless.
Thank you, Terance.
Yeah, thank you. Peace.